Hello, Wilmington. Thank you for welcoming me into your home. If you don't know who I am, my name is D. Marque Hall. I'm an artist, an author. I'm a little nervous right now just because I'm here on TV. I'm a fighter too, so I'm going to fight through those nerves. When I say fighter, I mean boxer, I mean activist, I mean leader. I lead to the best of my ability. I do the best that I can at social organizing and gathering people, gathering folks together, getting minds, ideas, and actions working together to one common goal. I've been working to get these buses restored to Rodney Square, along with a lot of organizers, a lot of people that are more inclined, more in tune, more experienced at that work than myself. People that have transportation experience. I wasn't planning on saying anything about Rodney Square as soon as I got here, but I want to talk about what it is that's most important, what it is that is affecting us as a community. We need to be inclusive. We need to be peaceful. We need to be tolerant of all people. We need to be accepting of all people. We can't allow for certain people that are in power, certain people that have money, certain people that have influence to use that influence to hurt people. Now, at Rodney Square, it once was a very diverse place. It once was a place where everyone was welcome, where everyone was able to get on the bus. We had public transportation. We didn't have public discrimination. Now at Rodney Square, certain people are no longer allowed to catch the bus because the buses have been rerouted to other areas, further down King Street, further down Orange Street, further down onto other streets, side streets. It's reminiscent of the new Jim Crow or the old Jim Crow back in the day when we had whites-only restaurants and we had whites-only bathrooms and colors were not allowed. But now, people who are not white are discriminated, or people who are black and white are discriminated against. People that get on the bus, no matter what color they are discriminated against. People that are going to work, people that are going to school, people that are going to doctor's appointments, people that are doing the right thing, that are just trying to live their lives, take care of their families. People that are trying to do better than they are now. People that are going to where it is that they need to get to now have to go further down the street. They have to go blocks to get to where it is that they need to get to. And when they get to these new stops now, they don't have seats and they don't have shelter. And it's not rare for them not to have lights at these shelters. And then at night, when they get on the bus, they're not safe. There's no police presence at these new stops. There is still a police presence at Rodney Square. There are still benches at Rodney Square for people to sit on, but there aren't buses anymore. So we have empty benches in the middle of what the city and the real estate developers and the people that were able to influence the politicians consider to be a premier public place. They're going to spend $1.5 million of taxpayer dollars to redo Rodney Square. $1.5 million of our money to make fountains, to make it beautiful, to make it pretty. The problem with that is that the people that were once at Rodney Square were beautiful, pretty people. They were people that didn't deserve to be treated like a problem just because they had problems. People at Rodney Square, there were homeless people, there were poor people, there were people that have mental health problems, there were people that suffer from drug addiction, there were people that are what we call transient. People in different communities and other places, across the nation, 3,000 miles away in California, they bus homeless people out of places like LA and San Francisco to middle America, and they just drop them off. When I say them, I shouldn't say them because I've been homeless. I've been in that situation. I've been there. I've experienced that plight. And it's not something that I wish upon anybody, not knowing where your home is, not knowing where it is that you're going to sleep tonight, being told that you have to leave, being forced out of a certain situation, out of a place where you have shelter, where you do feel comfortable, just because you're not welcome there anymore. I know how it is. So I feel that pain. I catch the bus. When it's time for me to go somewhere and I need to go somewhere far away and I don't have a ride, I don't have any problem with getting on a DART bus. So it was me that was being discriminated against. It was me that's still getting discriminated against. So I fought. When Charles Potter and his wife Velda organized the We the People Resist Forum at the Powell Center on North Market Street, I was there. I made sure that I came, and I made sure that I met all the people that I needed to meet in order to get change to happen, in order to make change happen in Wilmington. I met Scott Spencer. I met John Flaherty. I met Deion Wilson, who I've known for a while. You know, people in the community who have been here for a long time know what it is that's happening. They see it's not just the buses, it's not just transportation, it's the policing, it's real estate, you know, it's rental properties that are being taken from landlords because of codes that they're not meeting now, and they're being turned into new apartment complexes and things like that. Everything's related, you know, education, everything that it is that is happening now is all a part of the plan, which has been, I saw my name pop up on the screen just now. But yeah, my name's Marque Hall. I'm an activist, I'm a fighter. This Rodney Square issue is one that we need to stay on top of. We need to continue to fight. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. They rerouted the buses from Rodney Square back on December 17th, back around Christmas time. And it wasn't right, it wasn't fair, so I organized protests. After that, We the People Resist rally that we had at the Powell Center that Charles Potter and Velda Jones Potter called for, I recognize that we care and we all want change, but I knew that if we're gonna make that change happen, we need to be where it is that they don't want us to be. If they wanna remove us from the center of the city, what they consider to be a premier public place, we need to be there. So I organized that first protest in a week. You know, I said that we need to be out there. You know, usually you wanna take more time, you wanna gather a whole lot of people, but I knew that who came would be who it was that was really about this fight, who really was gonna do what it was that needed to be done to get this change to happen. And from these first protests that we had, we were able to get the 6 brought back to Rodney Square. The 6 goes past the VA, goes past Veterans Affairs. It goes down to the University of Delaware. We were able to get the 28 brought back to Rodney Square. The 28 goes to AI Children's Hospital. The 28 goes to the hospital where the young people that are suffering from different diseases like sickle cell, cancer. The 28 was brought back to Rodney Square. The problem with these buses being brought back, leaving, going outbound, is that they weren't coming back inbound. So that's still a fight that we have to fight, because just because they didn't want a large group of people there, they made it so that the buses that were brought back only left from Rodney Square instead of coming back too. You know, when I talked to Charles Potter on the phone earlier today, because I wasn't planning on being here, this wasn't something that I thought that I was going to be doing. I'm wearing this because I was just at church, that's why I have the jacket and everything. But when I was talking to Charles Potter as I was leaving church, actually on my way to the Peace Week event down at Delaware Contemporary, where the young people have their artwork on display. All the artwork is, you know, trying to paint out peace, trying to paint out their ideas, their young ideas of peace, which are actually pretty like informed. They're a whole lot more knowledgeable than you would think if you actually talk to them. They're little people, and it's kind of crazy because they're like little geniuses, what it is that they do. When I was leaving from church to go there, I talked to Charles Potter on the phone about what it was that I did over the weekend. Not about Rodney Square, but over the weekend, I actually made history. It's history that a lot of people might not be aware of, might not know about, unless I tell them the history, unless I tell my story. We have to share our stories. This weekend, I was in Atlantic City. I was at the Showboat Hotel. I try not to be a showboat myself. That's why I don't talk about a lot of things that I do. It's God, you know. We put God first. We don't put ourselves before God. We put God first. Everything that it is that I do, I'm able to do because of God put me in that place. And I thank God for every blessing, for every opportunity. I know what it is that I've been through, where it is that I've been, and I know that at any time I could end up back in that same place. I can end up back in jail. I can end up back homeless on the street. I can end up back not knowing what it is that I was going to do that night for food, what it is that I'm going to do that night to go to sleep, where it is that I'm going to be. You know, I thank God every day for every blessing. This weekend, God allowed for me to be a part of history. I was the first boxer to be on the board of directors representing athletes as an athlete representative on the board of directors for the Golden Gloves. So we use this what's the word? We use this phrase, nothing about us without us. When the other boxers, the other champions, so I should probably tell them I'm a boxer, and I won the Pennsylvania Golden Gloves this year. I'm the 2018 heavyweight. I don't look that big, but I'm the 2018 heavyweight Golden Gloves champion. And I went out to Omaha for the Tournament of Champions. And when I was in Omaha, the announcer, who I didn't know at the time, was Ray Rogers, the former president of Golden Gloves, announced that all the boxers needed to report to the front. All the champions needed to report to the front. These are all the different champions from all different states. And I, along with everybody else, came to the front, and he asked, who wants to be on the board of directors? I raised my hand high. Who wants to be on the board of directors representing athletes? And out of everybody that raised their hands, we had our little election, and I was selected as one of the representatives. We have 3 athlete representatives on the Golden Gloves board of directors. A young man from Nevada, a young man from Tennessee, a young man from Pennsylvania. That's me. I was born in Chester, and I fought in, the Philadelphia Golden Gloves and the Pennsylvania Golden Gloves championships. And I won Philly and Pennsylvania. But the thing about it, I'm from Delaware. I live here in Delaware now. In Delaware, we don't have a Golden Gloves. That's another fight. It's not the business that I brought to the Golden Gloves Board of Directors meeting. The first meeting that we had in Omaha, I saw that there were only older white men on the executive board. The president, the former president, the vice president, the treasurer, the secretary, all old white men, over 60. That is something that we have in politics, in the corporate world, in all phases of our life, nationally, in this country. It seems like white supremacy is the ruler of all things instead of God, almost. With this political system here in this state and in this city, we have a mayor, we have a governor, we have real estate developers, Robert and Chris Buccini, we have the lawyers, we have these people having secret meetings, deciding what it is that's going to happen to all these poor black and brown people, mostly black and brown people. Secret meetings where they're not considering the feelings, the cares, the needs, the wants of these people. When I saw that there were only old white men, one white man, Ray Rogers was on the Golden Gloves board of directors when Muhammad Ali was fighting in the Golden Gloves in the 50s. That's how old he is. This man's still on the board of directors. He's the former president, and he still has a vote. So he wanted to become the vice president and take up another vote. So the first thing that we voted on was whether or not to keep Ray Rogers. And of course, we didn't keep Ray Rogers. When they asked the athletes what it was that we thought, I said, nothing about us without us. We have black fighters, mostly. We have brown fighters, especially out west, California, Nevada, mostly Mexican fighters, but no Mexican on the board, no black person on the board. This year, USA Boxing made it so that women could fight alongside us. So we had women in the hotel. We had women in the competition alongside us, and they did great. They did amazing. Clarissa Shields, 2-time gold medalist. Clarissa Shields, you know, from Flint, Michigan. You know what I'm saying? Clarissa Shields, I know personally, and she might be able to beat me up. Really. But, you know, the women should be represented on the board of directors too. Nothing about us without us. So this weekend, when we got to our mid-year meeting, I saw something positive. I saw something good. I try to hunt the good in everything. I might not seem like it. I might seem like somebody that just wants to, you know, paint everybody out to be a bad person, or I'm looking for the bad. I'm trying to see bad. It's because I'm trying to make it good. I'm trying to fix the bad. If we don't address the problems, if we don't confront these issues, if we don't see racism, we don't see oppression, if we don't see this lack of inclusion as a problem, then it's going to continue to persist. So we have to attack that. If we don't, we fail, and we'll continue to be stepped on. We'll continue to be penalized. We'll continue to suffer. I don't want anybody to suffer. I want good for all of us. So that's the reason why I focus on the bad things sometimes, it seems like. But, you know, when we focus on what it is that we can change and make better, we're going to have better. We're going to have good. So this weekend, when I'm in the board meeting, I see that the executive board has now appointed a woman to be the new treasurer, a woman who's a genius. Her name is Dina. She's the New York head. She heads New York. She's worked with people that have hedge funds and all that good stuff, money. She knows money. She's worked for big banks and all that. She has a lot more knowledge than a lot of the older white men that are, this is another word, antiquated. These men have antiquated thinking, rules, ideas about things. But because I stood up and said that we need to have inclusion on this board, she now is the new treasurer for the Golden Gloves Board of Directors. We have a new secretary. The secretary, not a woman, a man, you know, secretary on the board of directors, a man from Mexico. You know, his descendants or his ancestors are from Mexico. Now is the secretary. And I thank God for that diversity. And that diversity started back in Omaha. It started when I said what I said originally, that we got to have inclusion on this board of directors, when I saw that it was only older white men. The president, Dave Packard from Michigan, who is a progressive-minded man that has trained up a whole lot of great fighters, including, let me remember his name, Buster Mathis, not Douglas that knocked out Tyson, but Buster Mathis from Michigan. He trained him. And his story's kind of like mine, because when I was young, when I was a kid, I was fat. And I kind of started boxing just because, you know, I used to run, I used to lift weights and all that good stuff. And when I would lift weights and run, it would hurt my chest. And somebody told me, a man named Carl works at the Y, he started me boxing because he told me to go and hit the heavy bag downstairs at the Y 7 years ago. And I went down there and I hit the heavy bag, and I liked it so much because I was going through so much at the time. So much pain was in my life. It just felt good to hit something. It felt good to me. It made me, you know, it helped me to relieve some stress, some pain, some trauma. So from there, I went to the William Hicks Anderson Community Center to actually box. And I went there and I got in the ring and I fell in love with it. I thank Brother Carl for sending me to, let me remember Carl's last name. None of this is prepared. I'm just talking from the heart. But like, I thank the people that put me on the path to where it is that I'm at and where it was that I was this weekend, because I look at it as something historic just because it's never happened before. The Golden Glove started in 1928. 1928. Muhammad Ali was fighting in the 50s. Ray Rogers wanted to be the new VP when he was there back then. But we voted him out back in Omaha He's still a former president, so he still has a vote. He just doesn't have 2 votes as the VP and the former president. And back in Omaha, we selected a new vice president, or the Golden Gloves president selected a new vice president. He selected Don Patterson from Buffalo, New York. Don Patterson's a black man who is under 60. So that was inclusion, that was diversity, that was a good thing, that was something that we clapped for. And this weekend at Atlantic City Showboat Hotel, Don Patterson wasn't there. There was a new interim VP, Bob Russo, who's a good man as well, but we do have diversity on the board. So what we talked about, instead of diversity and inclusion, was something that is even more important to me than diversity and inclusion. And the only thing that is more important and more imperative than diversity and inclusion is protecting the youth protection. So what we talked about was the fact that in Nevada, there was a coach that was caught with a young boxer, a young male boxer, in the hotel room, and he was suspended. He was suspended while there is an investigation in process. He, if found guilty, if they find the evidence to convict him, he will go to jail and he won't be allowed to coach again. He won't ever be allowed anywhere around any young person. I found out about him because of one of our other athlete representatives I'm being told that I only have 4 minutes, but this is important. I was told about him by one of our other athlete representatives out in Nevada. This man, the coach, he's from Mexico, and the coach that he was abusing, or that he allegedly was abusing, was Mexican as well. Doesn't speak English, the one that he was abusing. But we have to be protectors. We have to protect the most vulnerable among us, the young people, the children. We can't protect the abusers. We can't protect the people who are predators, the people that are preying on the most vulnerable. A lot of times in our families, we have different situations like this. Not everyone here listening is affiliated with boxing, knows boxing. A lot of people probably didn't even see the match last night, the match of the year 2018, Canelo versus Triple G. But we have families, and we know we have people that are here for good, and we have people that are here for evil, possibly. So we have to pray. Well, we can't just pray. We have to be vigilant, and we have to watch out for our young. So the main message, the most imperative message that I shared yesterday was the fact that we have to make sure that everyone has their background checks completed, that the people that are there that are just volunteering, that are working with the youth, are registered with Safe Sport, which is something that all coaches have to be registered for, all volunteers, everybody that's working with the youth has to be registered with Safe Sport. So when the executive director of USA Boxing got up, he further, he further emphasized what it was that I said. Everything that it was that I stated, he just nailed down and made it so that everybody knew that we were here for a reason, we're here for a purpose, and we're here to protect. We're here to protect the young. We're here to make sure that they're safe. Boxing is a sport. Boxing is a love, it's a passion. Boxing is a duty. Caring, love, service are the most important things to me. If it wasn't for the fact that I knew a God, that is greater than myself, I wouldn't do the things that I do every day. I wouldn't be who it is that I am. If I didn't recognize that we have a responsibility as people to love one another, to care for one another, to protect one another, I wouldn't be here. I'd probably be somewhere training. I don't know. But I'm here talking to you. I'm here talking to you about what it is that's most important in life. Thank you.